Hello everyone, today I'm going to talk about I will finish my project versus I will have finished my project. Okay, now the difference between these two, has to do with two individual tenses. One is simple future and one is future perfect. Okay, now I'll take one by one, both of them as usual. So simple future is an action that is planned for future, that is expected to take place in future. Okay, and the equation is subject plus will plus first form of the verb plus object. For example, I've already mentioned I will finish my project tomorrow. Okay, now the other tense is future perfect, which is defined as an action that will take place in future before something else happens. Okay, so you can also say these are double actions, okay, which will take place in future, one after the other. Okay, now the equation or the formula can be subject plus will have plus third form of verb v3 plus object plus before, when, or you can also say by the time, plus simple present tense. The second action will be simple present tense. Now this tense future perfect is also, or it can be defined as a double action in future. Okay, that means one action happening after the other in the future. Now, for example, you have already heard from me, I will have finished my project before my boss calls me tomorrow. Now in this case, X will happen before Y happens after that. Okay, action number 1 will be completed before action number 2 happens in the future. Okay, now throughout this video my aim will be to help you understand when to use simple future and when to use future perfect, because they both might look interchangeable in nature. Okay, so let's take few more examples to understand better, for me to drive home the point. Okay, example would be the client will approve the request tomorrow, simple future. Okay, no second action in this case, versus the client will have approved the request before you reach office tomorrow, or before you come to office tomorrow. Now in the first action we only have one action, we're talking about only one thing. Okay, it's simple enough, maybe that's why it is called simple future. Okay, in the second scenario, in the second sentence, what we are saying is that something will be completed before you reach office tomorrow. So the client will have approved the request before what? Before you reach office tomorrow. So the sense that I'm getting is the person will reach office and he will not have to worry about what has already happened. He just has to start his work, because action number 1 has already been completed. Okay, so something will be done before something else will be started or will need to be done as a latter step. Okay, so the sense is I would use simple future when I have to think only about one thing in future. Okay, and if I have to convey the sense of one thing happening, or one thing getting completed before second thing starts, that's where I will use future perfect. Okay, let's take some more examples. Okay, so I can say the flight, or I will land in Singapore tomorrow morning. That is simple future. Okay, versus I will have landed in Singapore before you wake up tomorrow morning. Okay, so again, in one case I'm just speaking something that is expected, simple future. In another sentence I'm saying something will be done before something else happens. Okay, so I will have landed in Singapore tomorrow morning before you wake up. Okay, so I hope you now understand where we need to use future perfect. Okay, there should be a sense of two things happening one after the other in future. Okay, let's take one more example. He will lose everything in life, simple future. Okay, versus he will have lost everything in life by the time he realizes his mistake. Okay, so it's good that he may realize his mistake, but it might be too late, because the damage will already be done before the second action happens, right? So So the same thing as I said, as I have been saying in this entire video, the first action will already be completed before something else starts. Okay, so that's enough, I think, of the examples. And point number 2 before I wind up this video is, we do not have to mention both the sentences in future perfect, because most of the times the second action, that is simple present, is understood. Okay, for example, when will the movie start? 11 a.m. Okay, so I will have finished my conversation by then. That's enough. Okay, I do not have to necessarily say I will have finished my conversation before the movie starts. It's already understood. So first part is good enough. That's what people usually say. Okay, one more example. When will you reach my home? 8 p.m. Okay, no problem. I will have finished my work by then. So I do not necessarily have to say both the sentences. I will have finished my work before you reach my home. So first is good enough. Okay, and that's why people say I will have done my work, he will have reached there. Okay, that is already understood. But grammatically, I hope I have done my best to make you understand what is the difference, okay, between saying subject plus will plus v1 plus object, simple future, and future perfect, which is subject plus will have plus v3 plus object plus simple present tense. Okay, so that should be it. And if you have any questions, please feel free to write comments, and I'll be happy to answer them. Okay, so thank you very much, guys. Bye bye.